Hi. Okay, it is time for season 1, episode 5, The First Wife's 20th anniversary. And 20 years is a short Mexico trip, 32 years is getting your life back. Hi, I'm Cozy. I like to snark on Sister Wives here on YouTube. If you're new here, I do like to remind you this video is for entertainment purposes only. These are not facts. They are just opinions about public figures who share their lives on television. Cool? Y'all, listen. We're going to start off with why am I a hot mess today? Because I feel the need to tell you, I put a keratin treatment in my hair, and I don't know if it made it smoother, but it made it something, and it is enormous. If I take it down, it looks like 1986 called and wants their hair back. So, and you know what? My hair might look like 1986, but you Zoomers can pry my middle part out of my cold, dead hands. Secondarily, I put on my makeup today, and as I was doing it, I missed the tube, putting the wand back, and you might be able to see there the black around the edge. That's what I didn't manage to clean off. And it's also still on my hands. It's not as bad as it was. You probably can't see it on camera, but it's still there. So if y'all are looking for the most permanent mascara you'll ever find, this CoverGirl Lash Blast, it's never coming off. Wear this if you think you're going to cry. It's in very black. Or if anybody knows how to get it off, or CoverGirl wants to, I don't know, sponsor me to wear it permanently, I will. But I also got it on my eyelash, or on my lash line, and yeah, it looks like, I don't know, it looks like I'm like reviving my emo kid days. So we're just gonna go with it, because what else are we gonna do? But yeah, I'm a hot mess today. Also, I'm sorry this video is coming out a little bit late. Both of my kiddos, my twins, both got the stomach flu, and they're young enough that one of them has never thrown up before. Sorry about that. And so that was a new adventure. She didn't understand that concept at all. It's been fun. Anyway, so this is the infamous Lakai dinner episode, and it is as terrible as I remember it being. This is also back when Cody and Mary clearly went to the same hair salon because they had the matching Keith Urban hairdo, that era of time. But we open up to this episode where Mary is coming downstairs to collect Christine. They're going on an adventure, and she reminds us it's been an eventful couple of weeks. She's like, Truly's here now, Cody's now engaged to Robin. Cody's been engaged to Robin because Truly is here now. The phrasing's a little bit disingenuous, but I'll give it to them. Whatever. And so Mary's like a little bit awkward when she's like, it's so fun to have Truly here now. And I believe her that she thinks it is a lot of fun, but I also think it probably is a lot of stress. For lack of a better term, Mary is the upstairs neighbor. And so I'm sure anytime Truly's crying, she can hear it through the floor. It could be waking her up too. And so it is a lot of fun, but it can be really super stressful. She also mentions that it's her anniversary, and I say it that way because Cody has really never given us much indication that he ever thought of the anniversaries as theirs, more as the individual wife. And given that the man at one point had 5 anniversaries in a year, I guess you just sort of don't think they're special anymore after a while. So Mary is explaining that they're going to go get Robin a Claddagh ring, and she shows us hers, and it's beautiful. You guys, I kind of forgot about how pretty her ring was, but it's got that open center in the heart, which is beautiful. Oh, that takes on a whole new meaning, doesn't it? Because, like, the middle of the heart is empty. It's still pretty. Whatever. It's beautiful regardless of if Cody didn't love her. Anyway, so she shares that everyone has their own wedding band from Cody, but the Claddagh ring is one that they all share. And so it kind of sounds like they have 2 rings and that they can kind of change them out. It looks like Mary pretty much always wears her Claddagh ring. But it does make you wonder if this is something that they do regularly, because I don't feel like we saw Robin wear hers all the time, but if they have 2 rings and they can sort of pick and choose, yeah. And then the other odd thing was that Cody said in Maddie's wedding episode that polygamists don't exchange rings. So, I don't know. I don't know why they'd have 2 then. But anyway, well, I guess if you're Robin, you have like 12. But so, for women who allegedly never cared about each other, it sure says, it sure does seem like Robin was so excluded from the club. Going and buying her this special ring to welcome her into the family, going fake dress shopping to spend time with her, or allowing her to care for your children while you're busy giving birth to a whole new human being. That seems super exclusionary. You're right. You know what? You're right. They were mean to her from the word go. Listen. We are off to the jewelry store, and this jeweler needed to get better font for their banner because it should read $150 when men's band. But what it looks like is Mary's. I'm not even joking. The font is so bad that it's got too many of the little, whatchamacallits. I can't think what they are. And so it doesn't look like an N. It looks like an R and an I. It's very strange. Anyway, it also seems super weird that it's next to an urgent care, like, oh, you broke your arm. Let's go get you a pretty necklace so you forget. Like, I don't know. But at any rate, they're inside and they let the associate know that they're looking to purchase this particular ring. And she shows them a small variety of them. And Janelle looks super nervous discussing the prices. And she immediately jumps in to discuss budget with the women, which makes sense. Yeah, they want to get her a gift, but they have to be mindful of the bank account. And I've never been one to worry about the cost of anything. To this day, I've never asked about the price of my engagement ring, and I know how much this cost me because we bought them together. This wedding band, $89, and I will never stop being proud of myself for the deal I got for this thing. And it actually is diamonds in it, so like, I did a great job. For pity's sake, the wedding dress I wore wasn't even a wedding dress. It was like a summer garden party style dress because we were doing a take on the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. $25 on Amazon. You can, to this day, still get the dress I wore at my wedding on Amazon. I think it's gone down in price, though. And it comes in like 17 colors. Even better. So, they're talking about it, and Christine jumps in to say that the least expensive one had the most beautiful detail work. Same thing with this. The least expensive option had the most beautiful detail work. And so Mary's like, oh yeah, you know, because it has to cost more, so it means more. And she follows it up immediately with, that doesn't make any sense. And she's not wrong. Cost aside, the meaning about it doesn't change. It doesn't change the meaning of something if you spend $100 or if you spend $35, if the point was that you love and care about the individual you're getting it for. But they don't have to sell us on this. We understand what they're talking about. For Janelle, budget is king. For Mary, the thought behind it is most important. And for Christine, I think she just wanted it to be pretty. Fair enough. Though, let me tell you, on the couch, we have the most eclectic outfits I have ever seen on these women. And I don't necessarily always just talk about like the clothes they wear because it's not anything, but this is strange, okay? Mary is wearing a gray long sleeve shirt with a teeny tiny pink sweater that looks like she may have accidentally borrowed it from Savannah from the Limited too. It's wild. And then Christine's got this green Sergeant Pepper looking top. And then Janelle is wearing something that looks like she may have gotten it from someone's grandma's closet. And I know they can all dress better because we have seen it. And so some of these early outfits are just wild to me because they all look so much more put together now. You kind of forget, and I think part of it also is that you kind of forget the trends back then. And so when we look back at the trends now, we're like, what were we doing? Don't come from my middle or my side part. Don't do it. I'm not getting rid of it. So they share that they're going to give her the ring at the wedding reception. And having heard so much about weddings in this universe lately, I can firmly say that I hate Robin's wedding even more than I thought I did, okay? So Mary is concerned that they may not have picked the right one. Honestly, girl, go with your gut. If you felt like it was right at the time, it probably is the right ring. So, also, you're buying her essentially a wedding ring when her husband should probably be worried about that. So Robin goes on to try and make this Claudia ring family tradition, like her entire personality later on, which, you know, my sister was closet. So, you know what? You must not have done too badly, because if she wants to make it everything about her, you did something right. But the clerk asks if it's a birthday gift, and they get awkward and kind of shift and say it's just because. Guys, just say yes. Yeah, it's a birthday gift. Just say it's a gift of some variety. Hey, our friend, this, that, you know, she's our friend, and this is a friendship ring, and we wanted to get this for her. It's small talk. Clerks just make small talk. They aren't actually trying to suss out if you're sister wives. And so they're on the couch and they're like, listen, we feel weird about people digging into our relationships. Once again, it's small talk. The clerk standing in front of you could not care less what you're doing it. She would not care if you walked outside, put it on a fishing hook and dangled it over the closest bridge. She doesn't care. Y'all are all three blondes with blue eyes. She thinks you're related. End the conversation. And Janelle says she's just evolved to say sisters, and it shuts it down. That's what I just told you to do. So she goes on to say that people in the know, if you say sister wives, they tend to get super judgy. And she's like, people are almost always asking questions because they think something is up. I think the wives are just super sensitive because the lifestyle they've chosen isn't legal. But you're walking around the camera crew and you're kind of showing everything off to the world. At some point, people are going to know anyway. So either say it and get it out of the way, or just say it's just a gift. That clerk does not care. So over at Robin's house, she's like, things have gone really well since the move. And if we can trust the calendar from the last episode, it's been about a month since the move took place. And she says it's been interesting trying to find her place in the family. Like, oh, where do I fit? Realistically, Robin, you don't. I'm not even trying to be rude or mean, but realistically, she doesn't fit. They had things parsed out in such a way that it worked for their family. Christine was the caretaker wife. Janelle was the working wife, and Mary was the balance between the two, someone who took care of the home and also worked. Now, we know Christine was working, but this is what I'm saying from the narrative we're being shown on the television. So realistically, where does Robin fit? She doesn't. You already have a caretaker wife, you already have a working wife, and you already have someone who splits between the two. So I don't have an actual job for Robin. And the actual job that Robin seemed to take up was Cody's companion. I'm going to say it that way. Cody's companion. And that wasn't a necessary role. In fact, it probably brought more problems than it did good things. So you weren't going to fit in. I'm sorry. This was not a piece of the puzzle that was necessary. And I think that's probably why, if you go into a lot of the more fundamentalist Mormon teachings, they recommended 3 wives to get to the highest level of the celestial kingdom. They didn't recommend multitudes and multitudes. Could they have probably used another wife to help with the children? Yes, but that's not how things worked out for this. If you can think of a job that Robin could have realistically done for the family that would have actually been of some benefit, outside of Robin get a job, get off the couch, yeah, I want to hear what it is, because I can't find one personally. But then this is the scene that everyone remembers, with Robin and the pictures. So she's sorting through the pictures, and I'm guessing it's probably for the wedding, and she asks Brianna, and to my surprise, McKelty. Honestly, in my mind, I have played that scene back multiple times to be Aurora. It's McKelty. No one else is there. McKelty should be at school. And, okay, so hear me out. So during the last episode, during the move, one of Cody's girls says, this should be the girls' room so I can sleep in here. And I think it was McKelty. Was McKelty still the nanny and living at Robin's, going to school online at this point? Because based off the food on the counter, it's lunchtime. No one else is there. It is just Brianna, McKelty, and Robin. And so if McKelty was still doing online schooling, she was still the nanny at that point. And Robin wasn't working. Listen, I'm a wild conspiracy theorist when it comes to this show. I threw out a couple weird conspiracies before, but I think that McKelty was still the nanny here. So Robin's going through the pictures and shows one of the girls and says, who's in the photo? And Brianna's like, oh, that's Mommy. Oh, Mommy who? Mary. And then she says, who's this? And she says, and Brianna goes, Cody. And Robin's like, who? And she goes, Daddy. Listen, I know for years she has said that it was because the kids were calling him Daddy way before that, but I'm still uncomfortable with it. As much as Robin and Cody complain that they had such a long courtship, by any other metric, they did not. It's always going to seem way too fast and just a touch coached to me for Brianna to be saying it like that. And Robin explains the no chess piece picture to us. And listen, it's not the worst explanation, because she's like, sometimes we're just looking so hard at something and there's nothing there. And it's kind of an interesting idea, because in this you can see that everyone is so focused on somebody making the winning move. If you're looking, it looks as though Christine and Mary are scrutinizing what would be Robin's pieces, and Janelle is helping Cody, okay? And so since it's just Robin and Cody playing, it also sort of implies that the other wives are scrutinizing their relationship, which I find very funny since they're not allowed to do that. So y'all have to see this picture again. I could not get a screenshot of it. Max wouldn't let me, but y'all, you have to see it, because if you pause and take a look at it, the lighting of the picture in this black and white makes Cody look like he's wearing like a Ben Franklin style bald cap. It's like glint. Listen, Y'all just have to go look at it. So we cut back to the big house and the conversation shifts to schools. And so Mary wants Cody to know what their kiddo was picked out for doing schooling. And Cody's got a lot of questions regarding the dislike of public schools. And listen, I didn't like public school either. I'm not going to blame anybody for not liking public school, especially depending on where you are. Schools can be huge and there can be a lot of kids that are kind of bullying. And so I understand, though, his concerns about wanting to go to the Naval Academy and having an unaccredited homeschool and not being able to get the things that you need to get the degree, or I'm sorry, to get the paperwork that you need together, to get the recommendations from teachers that you might need, or the recommendations from others outside with extracurriculars that you would need through an unaccredited homeschooling program. I am definitely into homeschooling. I would homeschool my kids anytime. So I'm all for whatever works best for a family, but there are plenty of things to navigate here if that's really the end goal. So the decision's reached to continue private school and to work hard to reach the goals at the end of the road. And he's like, I'm so proud of you. And the conversation sort of ends there. I don't really have a ton to say here because ultimately the school choices and the degree plans changed. And I don't really think this was that negative of an interaction. I think there was a lot of honesty here. So after the commercial break, Mary's getting ready for the anniversary dinner, and she lets us know that she's never been to this restaurant before, and it is fancy. And she really has to dress up. But the outfit she's chosen feels a little casual to me. The jersey, it looks like a jersey knit dress, similar to like the t-shirt that I'm wearing, and leggings. But Mary has always worn blue really well, so she picked a good color. And we see Cody, not Mary, Cody acting like a bumbling oaf, trying to be this jerk of a husband, like, is she ready yet? Is she out of the bathroom? And the thing is, he has multiple other bathrooms he could go to, and no one would be offended by it. Jeez, just go to Janelle's house. She's not even going to know if you're there getting dressed. She's probably not home. But whatever. So he's like, we're going to Lakai. And when people hear you say that, they think, ooh, you think you're special. And he's like, yeah, of course I do. It's a 20-year anniversary. I would like to think that I will feel special on my 20-year anniversary, which will also be my 48th birthday. It feels less special. I'm going to be honest. Anniversaries feel a lot less special when you say the number of your anniversary and then compare it to, oh, it is also my birthday and I'm old. Like, oh, you feel good. You're like, huh, we'll be married for 7 years. And then you're like, oh, I'm 35. It's not as much fun. But Mary discusses her infertility over the last 20 years. And I can't decide if this was weighing heavily on her because of baby Truly, which would make perfect sense. Because that would bring up a lot of emotions. Or if the producers asked her. But guys, put the horse back in the pasture. So after the interview, we see Cody demand a kiss from Mary, and she keeps going like, you mean right now? Like now? Like now? And I'm like, listen, okay. But they really made the commitment to this similar hairstyle because they are both wearing headbands. To be fair, one of them is made of flesh. So back on the couch, Mary tells us that Cody's doing something nice for her because she told him to. I love it. And Cody's like, no, I got this one. And they're headed to Mexico. And sometimes Cody says it Mexico, which I don't like. It feels rude. And sometimes he says it Mexico, which feels a lot less rude. And Mary's looking super forward to it. Mary reveals that they've been having a difficult time in their relationship, and adding Robin's courtship to the mix put on a bit of a strain. So it's a good time for them to get away. And Cody suddenly realizes he didn't do his hair. And whatever his hair routine is, it consists of aggressively rubbing his hair with a cotton towel. Did I bring a cotton towel in here just to illustrate that? Yes. Don't do that. Ever. My curly hair is cringing. Like, I can feel it trying to escape my own head. And Cody is like, my brothers are all bald, so yeah, if they kept doing this, that's probably why. He's like, I use stuff to grow my hair. Sir, your hair is trying to escape from the towel. That's That's why it's leaving. But he reveals his hairline, and it's not the worst I've seen, but it's certainly not great. And then his hair, he has like flipped it and attacked it with the towel, and it's standing up off of his head like Albert Einstein, and he's like, no, it's gonna be great, it'll be fine. He starts flinging his head around, and then he's like, and Mary starts giggling, and he goes, good enough, and off to go, and Cody. Oh, God. Okay, well, then off they go. And we see a photo of a much younger, of both of them much younger, and Cody needs to cut off his hair. He looks so much better with it short. On the couch, we've subbed in Robin for Mary, and Janelle's like, I think that 20 years is such a milestone. It's something you can really look at and be like, wow, we did that. We got here. And Christine's like, it just went so fast. And Robin's like, it just kind of happened. And Christine's like, yeah, we've known them since the very beginning, like since the before times. And yeah, that's true. And Christine says, yeah, we look back at pictures of him and we wonder what she even saw in him. And Christine's like, they look like babies. They're so young. So Janelle and Christine point out that they've been married for 17 and 16 years respectively. And Robin takes this time to be like, the longevity of each of these relationships really makes me feel like this is stable. Really? Because they lasted a pretty long time until season 17. Okay, so over at Lakai, a goose has wandered into the driveway, and Mary tells Cody to honk at it, which he does, and the goose could not care any less. This goose is not moving. So the exterior of the restaurant has this like super fairy tale vibe, and I really like it, and I may or may not have gone and looked up screenshots of it to try and build it in The Sims. If I do that, once again, on the gallery it goes. But I've already started the cul-de-sac. I feel like I'm just gonna have to make like a whole Sister Wives neighborhood in this game. But they're directed upstairs to what appears to be like an attic space converted, and the fireplace is super lovely. And the room does seem a bit dark, but I think off film, it's probably just very pretty ambient lighting. And Cody shares in a confessional that relationships are complicated, no duh, and that he and Mary struggle to connect sometimes. But he uses this super soft voice and this like somber attitude, like he's trying to go for relatable, but it just feels cold. Like it feels cold and uncaring. And at the table, he's like, what else has happened in 20 years? And she kind of puffs up her cheeks and it's like, a lot. Okay, these do not look like two people in love here. They look like two people who are very much so trying and greatly struggling to find a good connection. So the decision to splice this couch interview in about meeting Robin was a choice. I'm noticing it more now, that it feels like Puddle Monkey is really trying to convince us hard that Robin's not a homewrecker, that this is a decision everyone wanted. But Mary sharing how they met Robin, listen, this horse is just so far gone. Can we leave it alone? I'm not touching it again. We all know the story they gave us in the beginning. It still sounds fake. And listen, we've heard it probably 40 times in the first 5 episodes alone. Leave the horse alone. So Mary does this like thing where she's like, well, the courtship has stirred up a lot of jealousy and insecurities. And Cody has this look that is like a mix of worry and anger on his face. I'm actually not sure what this emotion is. And he won't even look at her during this couch interview. And they intersperse footage of the dinner, and he doesn't even look happy to be there. The first time we see him smile in this interspersed footage is when they light up the sparkler over the chocolate-covered strawberries, and in my opinion, that is so impractical because number 1, now I can't get to the chocolate-covered strawberries that I want to eat. Number 2, the chocolate is going to melt. And then number 3, I am mapping out fire exits in my mind because this thing is spitting sparks and I'm pretty sure we're going up. Like, I can't help it. Maybe I'm crazy. But back on the couch, Mary says she doesn't think that Cody understands her or what she's going through. And they cut to his face, and this jerkwad, this absolute butthead, rolls his stupid eyes at her. Are you kidding me? He rolls his eyes and pulls this face more reminiscent of abandoned. Please, you take that back. I'm not even joking. She says, I don't think you understand me. And he's like, don't. And she sees and like quickly pulls it back in and is like, well, I want to understand everything that you're going through too. And she's like, I just really want him to understand. And he scoots himself forward on the couch, leans in, mouth open, like he's about to say something completely out of pocket. And then it cuts. Those are the days, Codester. Hey, where they would edit you to look a little better. So the dinner's edited so out of order. And Mary, we keep seeing Mary with this very, very onion-filled onion soup. And let me tell you, it looks good. I like me a French onion soup, so... And Cody is looking at her sadly while she's eating it. And I don't know if it's like, oh, your breath's gonna stink, or like, oh, I don't want to be here with you. But either way, the onion soup looks good. Back down, Cody. But on the couch, Mary's like, there's a distance between us. And Cody side-eyes the camera hard. Like, this first season is so full of side-eye. It's so much fun. I'm here for it. Everything is cleaned up, and we come back mid-conversation as Mary's trying to explain her jealousy to Cody. And this, she says, I just ask you for to acknowledge my feelings. And then she gives the hypothetical, we all know it, of her with another guy. And Cody is leaning on his left hand the entire time, wedding band on. And then the very next shot, he looks like he's about to laugh in her face. Like, I don't know if it's like laughing at the idea that another man would ever even give her attention or what it is, but he is pulling this smirk and he's like giggling to himself. And then he's still giggling, guys. I completely forgot this, where he's like, the vulgarity of the idea of you with two husbands or another lover sickens me. So first off, the vulgarity of you taking her out with that puffy mass off the side of your head is an issue. That mess never did calm down. And secondly, you're right. You're right. That does make you a hypocrite because you say it seems wrong to go against God and nature. Okay. Listen, I know we don't go Bible crazy here on this channel, but this is religious polygamy. I know my Bible a little bit, Mr. Brown. 1 Corinthians 7:2. Nevertheless, to avoid fornication, let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Maybe that's why it feels that way. Anyway, Mary says, because he's like, I can't win with this. And Mary's like, I'm not trying to win. Like, I don't want either of us to win. And Cody's like, there's no way for me to win by answering this question. He just says it like a couple of times. And he's like, this emotion is something I never want to deal with. But somehow, it's okay to ask your wives to deal with it every single day. And he's like, I get it. And Mary keeps pushing him. Like, she is pushing him. And she's like, tell me what you get. And he's like, I feel like I'm admitting to doing something that's completely and totally unfair. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. You feel like you're admitting that. Because it's basically what you're admitting to. Good job, Cody! Gold star. Look. It is so funny that he comes back years later and is like, Christine blew up my entire view of polygamy. She wrecked me by leaving and telling me that everything in Lehigh was bad and opening my eyes to the inherent unfairness in polygamy. Bro, Mary told you a decade earlier about the inherent unfairness in polygamy. Okay, so Mary keeps pushing because she says that it's in the wives' faces every day, and it's something that they've chosen, sure, and they're okay with it, and she knows it's going to help her grow and be a better person. I think there's other ways to do it, but fine, go off. She tells him she just wants him to acknowledge that she has feelings and that she has jealousy, and he's like, oh, I get it. And she calls him out and he's like, look, she's like, you tell me often. You chose this. So he jumps into this manipulative narrative and he says, when we met Robin and you were so excited, it felt so affirmative. And then you were jealous and it was a shock to me. Seriously, that's super manipulative because in my ears, that's basically saying, you wrote me into this and now you get to deal with the mess. 3 times. He reminds her that this was basically all of her idea and that he wouldn't have done it if she wasn't so excited, and so this is all on her. And then he ends this hurt Mary fest he's got going on by like, why? Why do it? Why stick it out for 20 years? Oh my God. And so Mary's like, well, of course I get a lot out of it. And she specifically says, I get a big family and kids who love me. Very important to note because we know that Cody later down the road has said that the only important thing was the family, the kids, all of that. And then, of course, throws it back in Christine's face during the knife and the kidneys episode, but whatever. And here we are seeing Mary doing exactly that, making it about the family. She never made it about the two of them. She makes it about the family. And she's got tears in her eyes sharing that if her family of 21 suddenly were a family of 3, it would feel so empty. So Cody's like, well, I want to say I'm sorry that there's heartbreak in this process. Stop. No. Keen observers are going to note that I'm going to say this is not a real apology. You've heard me before call out what I don't feel are real apologies, because if you wanted to say sorry, you would just say, I'm sorry, number one. Number two, this doesn't address Cody's behavior. It blames it all on the system, which, once again, Mary chose. So in a roundabout way, he is still blaming Mary for Cody hurting Mary. And then he's like, listen, I'm so sorry that this pushes aside your feelings, while pushing aside her feelings. This is a masterclass in avoiding taking responsibility. Whew. And then he's like, I hope you know I'm devoted to you. And then jumps into what he must think is this poetry he could have given Christine if only he thinks he wanted to. Back on the couch, Christine, Janelle, and Robin. Christine's sharing that she's happy to see Cody going to Mexico with Mary because their relationship is really struggling. And Robin has this wide-eyed, and I mean wide-eyed, mouth open, just like mad woman look on her face. I don't know if she's chewing gum or what, but she suddenly freezes like this for several seconds. And I would have been like, oh, maybe it's just the camera angle making her eyes look extra wide. No, because she's like, and then immediately goes back to normal, relaxed face. And Christine shares that because there are so many women and one guy, anniversaries are all that much more important. And once again, I would venture a guess to Cody, they are not. Because this man at one point racked up 5 anniversaries, though he pretended he only celebrated 4 at one time. But Christine's like, well, you know, in a monogamous marriage, maybe it wouldn't be such a big deal to go away. Ma'am. Ma'am, polygamists are not the only people who need alone time. And let me tell you, I have kids. I don't get to go away. I want to go away for a night to Amish country for our anniversary / my birthday. One night, overnight to Amish country, which for us is not that far. Nobody will watch my kids. So I don't get to go. So yeah, it is still important in a monogamous marriage, Christine. I really genuinely hope that now she kind of realizes that that is the case. I really hope that she and David take full advantage of making sure that anniversaries are celebrated. But we get some allegedly home video from Mexico proving that they should be better at self-filming by now. Just like little things like Mary in a fountain and Cody in the ocean, and then this like really awkward, very tight-lipped kiss, way too close to the camera. But this is also where we get the footage of Cody's suggestion that for a 20th anniversary present, they do in vitro. And looking at these glasses with the salt around the rim, I'm thinking they're margaritas. And maybe Cody's just drunk here? Speculation, opinion only, not fact, just a guess. I don't know why else he would think this is a brilliant plan, though, because when she offers her honest opinion, he looks shocked. Like, he genuinely didn't think that she would respond negatively. And she's like, I just don't see the point. And I don't blame her. He's like, you sure? And he really does. I mean, genuine surprise when she's like, yeah, I'm sure. And Cody confirms on the couch that he was dumbfounded and, like, completely floored that she would say no. And he looks a little bit teary-eyed, honestly, when he's like, I would like another. And Mary's like, listen, if it happened naturally, great, but I just don't know about this. And Cody's like, listen, I haven't been told no in a strong enough fashion yet to take it as a no. That's an awful comment. Back to the Bible again, Cody. Jesus said, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Just throwing it out there. But Mary finishes out with, in a polygamous, even though we're polygamists, we still deserve a happily ever after too. And she's right. I just wish that she had gotten it. I hope that she can find it now. I just wish she had gotten it then. But that is season 1, episode 5. They come back from Mexico at the end. That's really kind of all there is to it. And season 1, episode 6. I have railed about this on my look back episode, so I probably won't hit the scene as hard. But it is the episode that I knew I didn't trust Robin in, because it is the infamous dress episode. But there are other things in this episode to talk about too, like the cake tasting and other things. So that's where we're going to come back to. I promise, now that everyone is over the stomach flu, that the next video will not take as long, and it will be out come hell or high water. I feel like no high water, please. No. But I'm super excited to get through to it. I'm super excited to hang out with you guys. I'm super happy everybody's finally getting healthy in this house again because I can't take it anymore. I will see you guys soon back here at the next one. Bye!